Here we are. Oh, I had lots of thoughts about how to start this off. Oh, hello! Hi! But it's been a very busy morning, and so I am here with hello and good morning. And another big cup of tea. This is number 3 this morning, and it is 11 a.m. where I am. So, howdy, everybody. Thanks for coming by. What did my morning consist of? Well, tell me what your morning consisted of, and we can commune, perhaps. It is Friday. I am thankful that it is Friday. That's a good thing about these Friday lives. But I had a full early morning docket of racing thoughts while in bed, followed by actually getting to meet some amazing authors. Jason Reynolds, who gave a talk to a school, and I'm part of A Mighty Blaze, which helped with the school tech interface, and he was just amazing to listen to. And then A Mighty Blaze had their own talk. Lit Chick is a new series that launched today with one of my favorite of all time, a folk author, Jennifer Weiner, who wrote Good in Bed. That was her first book, I learned, and an amazing book. Yes, you should definitely get tea. Hello, Beth Ann. Welcome, welcome. So yes, that was my busy morning, and this is third in the lineup. So I scheduled this first, and the other 2 fell in beforehand, which is kind of funny, but there we are. I have a list of things to remind myself to speak of before I forget. But before that, I just wanted to pop Amrita's comment up here. Yes, the timing, I'm like 2 hours off. I'm so close. She schedules hers at 9 a.m. for the time difference, and eventually I'll have a 9 a.m. slot, so don't worry. The question for me about would you do this again, and would you also invite her to participate? Of course. Okay, so we'll get to the readathon in a second. Hello, Brian. He had an after dark thing going on. So here he is. Actually, you're east of me as well, so not so bright and early, but yes. And Rosie's here. Hey, all. Howdy. Happy Friday. Take that down. There we go. I put a little flower in there, and it says hibiscus on the emojis, but it looks more like a dogwood to me. So I'm going to call it a dogwood flower because that's what's sprouting here in Portland. All right, so after that busy morning, what have we got to talk about today? Well, I'm going to get the April announcements out of the way. We've got the book club, Taste Life Tea Weiss book club over on Patreon for Love Medicine by Louise Erdrich. And I've now heard 2 native booktubers say Erdrich, so I'm going to go with Erdrich for the rest of my existence and help me remember if I forget. But yes, very excited for that. That is happening on Sunday, April 18th. If anyone wants to read with us, go over on to Patreon. I'll put the link up in a second. And the other announcement is that I launched Treasure Troves, which is something that is combining my want to redistribute the treasures that I've been hoarding that are bookish related to the people who are interested, and the, interesting people who want to get bookish mail and find something new. So I'm going to put up 2 choices each month of whatever the winner wants to choose. They get one of the 2 just to lessen the possibility of, oh, I totally don't want that. Don't bother sending it because that would be sad. So I've got the 2 chosen. I've got all my photos taken for like a year, and I'm going to put them up on next Friday's live when I'm going to do the drawing. So that is the new exciting thing. If you are not a patron on Patreon, you can still enter by just commenting on the last video, the one that had March of the Moderns winner, who is here in the audience. So hi, Rosie. Okay, so that's all for April. It is April 9th. I can't believe it's already April 9th. Okay. And now for the advertised portion of our program, running a readathon. So I put up a blog post, and since blogs don't get much viewership, it was basically just a place for me to put all my thoughts. So I'll be looking at that and toggling back and forth to go over what I sort of how I collected my thoughts in a way that seemed coherent at the time. It seemed coherent at the time. We'll see. We'll see. So what is the readathon we're talking about? March of the Moderns. I decided after Victober that I wanted to try something like that and pick up where Victober left off. And so it took me a few months to figure out what I was going to do and sort of get into gear. And so at the end of January, I realized, oh, okay, I got to set these things up here, here, and here. And so that's when I launched the idea, put the kernel out there. And so that gave me a month to prepare, month plus to prepare. And there was a lot of preparation, but I'm a planner type personality, so that was very exciting. The preparation that I did consisted of, let's see, I put out a lot of feelers because what I wanted this to be was a collaboration, like have co-hosts, have challenges, have community members contributing ideas and stuff like that. So I reached out to author friends that I had and was trying to get people from different disciplines who could comment on the time period, because it's booktube and it's a time period. So I had sort of like a setting focus, but I wanted to come at it from different angles. And given social justice importance, there was an effort to try to get people who could comment on changing social mores, changing economics, changing migration patterns, all these different things that were going on in the first half of the 20th century. I went through a lot of people saying that they were too busy. So that was a difficult part. But I did find a historian who is a university teacher in Washington State, and she was lovely. We read Their Eyes Were Watching God as the last video on March 31st. And we both had like tons of notes and really wanted to make it a series instead of a 1 hour, because that was kind of nonsense. And I guess I should have thought of that, but live and learn. And an author who was writing mainly in this time frame, with one that was in the 50s, but she had, I think, 4 books in these decades that we were highlighting. And so I talked with her, Camille DeMaio, at the beginning of the month. So I had all the live book chats with buddy reads in the middle, and then the bookends for the month were the experts. And that's just how it sort of fell into place because of scheduling, and I actually liked that. So don't know if you could intentionally do that with everyone's busy schedules going forward, but I thought that was pretty cool. And let's see, I quickly figured out that there was let me check in here. I'm looking at a different tab. We've got Gmail user. All right, what's the topic of discussion? I'm talking about how to run a readathon, and as a pretty newbie. So this is my lessons learned from the first attempt, and trying to pass on knowledge in case other people are interested. So there you go. What I learned early on, and the reason why I told myself that I needed to start by the end of January, is that the person or the channel, Little Book Owl, who organizes all the readathons that are happening on BookTube in one place, required, XYZ to be listed in her index. And so since that was such a central clearinghouse, I thought, oh, okay, legitimacy. Let's do this. Let's get some credibility by being on the main calendar, right? So I did that at the end of January, and that required a announcement video, which I've seen lots of people do, and I combined mine. I wouldn't recommend that going forward. I'm trying to keep lessons learned to the end, but my announcement video was like a call for questions and an announcement, and I would recommend keeping it clear and just one thing, but I cannot help combining sometimes. So yeah, there's that. and announcement video and details in a post. And because YouTube isn't the greatest place to keep central details, I put that on the blog and then directed people to the blog for the main materials, which were the rules, the time period, the Buddy Read sign up, which is the Google Doc so everyone could access it, and the bingo board, which is the prompts that challenged people to read such and such type of book in the time period. So that was the central place for my efforts. And then we were off to the races. So yes, and Rosie's saying it was far in advance. I'm glad you think so. And I got lots of comments from people saying how the Google Doc was so organized. And I was like, good. I'm glad people are impressed with the spreadsheet because it was as simple as I could make it. Basically, I just had an example. I put up all the books that I had in my possible reading list for 1901 to 1945 that were on my shelf, because that was like one of the sub goals, is just to like read the books that you already own rather than going out and buying any, because we all have moldering volumes. And so I put those up. There's like 20, and I knew I wouldn't be able to get through all those. So it was just like, we'll see how many people match up and what I end up with. And so basically I had title, book information, author, country, whatever. And then people said, oh, I'll take this one, I'll take this one, I'll take this one. And we just ended up matching people like that. It was kind of like a Secret Santa sign up, but not secret. So I will put that information in there. Oh, I just have been editing. For anyone who's going in now and wondering what the green highlights are, those are just the books that I can confirm were read, because, like, you know, if you're being weird and trying to measure results like a scientist, you can count all these things, and I'll get to that in a second. But I just have highlighted the books that people have talked about or read in green, just to see like how many we got through, because it's kind of fun. And side note, I am still waiting to hear about Tony's books. So Tony at Book Text was the co-host, especially for Instagram. She had 4 books on here in addition to the one that we did a buddy read with at the beginning of the month, Precious Bane. And so maybe in her wrap up for March, I haven't seen it yet, but she has The Night of Cheerful Countenance, Frost in May, The Land of Green Ginger, and Anderby Wold. And they all sounded very interesting. So I'm going to be looking for her report back on those and whether she got to them or not. Amrita already stopped by. I saw her last video, the autobiography of Alice B. Toklas. She started and will come back to or maybe finish in April. So I will be looking for her report out on that. We had Jim with Strong Poison, which he read, and I think I highlighted it. I think I saw that in a video, so that was great. I think we talked in the comments about the differences between the different classic mystery novels, which was fun. And then Beth Ann was talking about War with the Newts, which of course lots of people learned about and were very, very excited about learning about, which was fun. As well as Not Without Laughter by Langston Hughes and Maurice by Ian Forster, which just went up, and I can't watch it yet because it's a spoiler video. But I will still be waiting to hear about 20 Years at Hull House later this month, because I've read that one and it's like central to the book that I'm working on now. So I'm excited to hear about her experience reading about Hull House. Whew. So let's see, catch up on the comments again. We've got people explaining what a readathon is. I actually put that in my blog post. Define your terms at the beginning to figure out what your success measurements should be, right? And readathon, let's see, what did I say? A readathon is like a marathon, a long, grueling exercise in reading books. And then I said, just kidding. It's just a fun way to get people engaged and a semi-focused effort that will help people read books and maybe get out of their comfort zone and discover something new. So March of the Moderns. There we go. And yeah, Google Docs, best sort of spreadsheet. I love the collaborative aspect. Jim had strong poison on there, 1930, excellent. And I think that's the link. I mean, I didn't put a bit.ly in, but it's in the chat if you wanted to go check it out and see what's been read and what's still hanging on there. As I said in the last video, Kate Howe's doing, Kate Howe? Nope, Katie at Books and Things is doing a 1900 and 1950, and so that will also comprehend all these books. So if you want to do a cleanup, you can, trawl through those and then maybe say, hey, how about some Dorothy Parker? And I can say, yes, I still have that book. Let's do it. But yeah, that's happening in May. So much for preparation. But what about success? So I have several, what are they called? I'm losing all my knowledge gained in grad school. Markers? Indicators. Okay. Number of people participating. I think I looked at the playlist that I had made. Anytime I saw someone in my subscription feed put out a video where they talked about March of the Moderns and tagged it, then I counted that and put it on the playlist in case people look for those later and want to see them all together. And so I think we had 18, which is nice. The number of videos on the topic, in the playlist, I have 55, which is fantastic. The number of times the hashtag was used, I didn't really look that up because it didn't really take on either Twitter or Instagram. I kept checking at the first half of the month, and then I was like, it's just my posts. It's okay. I can let it go. Number of books entered into the spreadsheet. So I had my 20 plus another dozen, which was great. Ratio of conversations that took place to conversations promised. So that's, trying to measure the follow through. And I think we all did a fantastic job. I don't think that was due to my cracking the whip at all, but of course people can call me out in the comments if they want to. Quality of discussions. And here it's definitely an A+ because I enjoyed every one of these live chats and they're in the playlist. I will put the playlist up as well in the chat so everyone can see. And if you mentioned March of the Moderns book and art in the playlist, let me know and I'll definitely add it. I want to be inclusive there. Let's see. But yeah, quality of discussions, A+. Number of books read myself. I think I did 8, which is pretty good. I think I had about 15 for the month that I remember from the wrap-up video, which not that long ago, but who can remember numbers? Because there were 7 buddy reads, and then I had one that I got in before Precious Bane, the Marrow of Tradition. So I think that was it, which is good. I think 8 books on a topic in a month is plenty, especially, I don't know, when you're the one organizing. You're doing a lot of the admin as well. But of course, just to make sure no one else feels bad, I am unemployed and I'm doing this as almost a full-time job. So I help out at A Mighty Blaze. I volunteer there, which is a publishing nonprofit, and do that probably 5 to 10 hours a week. And literally the rest is trying to figure out my life right now. So yeah, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. None of us have it figured out. None of us has it figured out. What other indicators did we have to choose from? Number of bingos made. So this may have been harder than I anticipated. There were 2, and I think a couple other people who had tried. So that was hard. I don't think I've ever gotten a bingo in anyone else's readathon either, though. So I mean, that's fine. I'm happy. Okay, I'm gonna put. Should I put an emoji of a cell phone for the self-own that I just did? Yeah, I'm unemployed in terms of capitalism's viewpoint, but I am a writer. I'm working on editing my 6th manuscript. I have 5 other books out, so those are on the blog, the webpage linked on my channel. So yeah, sometimes I forget. Let's see. Brian read Down and Out in London and Paris. Oh, okay. That's right. I heard you talk about that. I don't think you list, maybe, I can't remember if you listed the Readathon, and that's what I was sort of on the lookout for. So my brain may have not kicked into gear as connecting those two. Orwell is also sort of straddling. He wrote a lot, I think, in the 50s and 60s as well. So I will have to check. I think that might be his earlier one, though. So yeah, I'll look that up afterwards. There we go. Other indicators. Bingos, yes. Additional channel traffic attributable to Readathon views. So I will discuss this one in a second. And then additional subscribers over the Readathon. So I'll discuss that one also in a second. So lots of possibilities. You know, everyone's goals for their channels are different. And I think people doing a Readathon are mainly about the books. So that's sort of the most important. I think the time I'm putting towards being consistent and I mean, I've sort of like plateaued in terms of video quality, but consistent posting schedule and creative topics is showing that I'm trying to grow the channel. So I realize it is an act of vulnerability to express the fact that you are trying to achieve a goal. And so that's me being my little nervous, awkward self here saying, yes, I'm trying to grow my channel. Because I think a lot of times we hear people saying, I'm okay with just doing whatever. And it's like, well, I'm trying. So if you see that it doesn't go up, like, hey, that's life. I'll be trying something new in my next iteration, right? So, and in case this wasn't clear, I'm a BookTube AuthorTube channel. So I'm like 75% book, 25% author content-wise. So I'm sort of zeroing in on a content calendar, which never worked for me on the blog. But the first week is wrap up, TBR, productivity sprint. Second week is turning into tag, tag, tag. And then the third week is like the 2 AuthorTube videos that I try to do. And the rest of the posts scattered in there are whatever else fits in there based on reviews or, I don't know, maybe we'll get to travel again soon. That'd be cool. Because I'm not a vlogger. Like, I don't have that discipline, that like editing urge, but I do like going places and taking pictures. So maybe it'll just be like picture slideshow, fade in, fade out. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so that's the sort of content calendar that is shaping up. Okay, I've gone a little far afield. Let's get back to the Readathon point. Okay, I chose as primary measures subscriber count, engagement and comments, and views of the videos. So that was my little planner heart being very content. And then we can move on to results and stuff if there aren't other questions. I'm going to keep popping back and forth. What? You never, okay, so hello JD, another author tuber here, a fantastic connector. You never plateau, more cool things coming for sure. Thank you. A lot of people go for the beauty pageant answers. Oh, instead of the vulnerable questions? Yeah, but here we are. Dancing! Okay, so here we are. I'm coming up to 40, and I don't need to front like that. We're laying it on the line. We're gonna be vulnerable and be honest. So there we go. And then we have Beth Ann wondering, what is a bookish beauty pageant answer? Go ahead, JD. You walked into that. I don't do this for the views. If one person enjoys it, I'm good. Which, there's an aspect of that, but it's also, you know, you're trying to grow up. Nice. Supportive comments. I feel seen. I feel seen. All right, so on to the results. Let's see. What do Readathons? Oh no, I still have more planning. Sorry. See, this is why I have a blog post so that I can keep myself on track here. Readathons typically offer, and what did I choose? So people have probably heard of Discord. Discord servers. And I heard someone recently say, why would I do that? I think it was Mara. Why would I go back to a 1995 presentation of a chat window? Because that's kind of what it looks like. Yes. Oh, sorry, I'm reading, catching up on the chat. I have a chat next week on April 13th, Lurking for Legends, Christy Stratos and Richard Stevens, and we're gonna be chatting. So there is so much going on in April. That's also on my April announcements. Thank you for reminding me, JD. Yes, plug the talk. Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Lurking for Legends, and it should be easily findable with that name. Discord. Who's been on a Discord server? I got sucked into them through Patreon, actually, not making one, but once again, Bernadette Vanner's channel. Bernadette and Rachel Stevens, who is a writer based in Scotland, and they both had Discord servers. And what became clear to me is that there is an immense amount of time investment to set one up and personalize it. And then you pretty much have to have like community moderators. And I was like, this is a whole ecosystem. This is not something to be done for one month. So that was a no. I also even didn't want to do it for Patreon because it just seems like another place to chat. And I'm like, y'all have plenty of platforms to chat on. Like, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, but not much. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Voxer. Like, we're good with the chatting channels. We don't need more. So Discord was a no. Goodreads groups are another way. And it's basically handy because you're right next to all those ISBNs and all those books. And so it's easy to make a list and comment and have threads of comments about what your opinions are about books. But I have left the Goodreads platform. My books are on there. My face is on there. I'm on there as an author, but I'm no longer cataloging my books there. It will be forever frozen in the December 31st, 2020 currently reading because now I'm on Storygraph, and it's created and run by creators of color and engineers of color. And that's what I want to support rather than the Zon. So join me in the Rebel Alliance. Yeah, so Goodreads group didn't really appeal to me either, even if it's where a lot of people are. It's not very interactive. It's not very, again, visually pleasing. It's just like a bunch of gunk. So I didn't want to choose that either. And JD saying he's been on the fence. I think that's for Discord. Rosie saying Discord is fun as an augmented group chat. I hate it for huge groups. That's an interesting point. Yeah, I've had it when there's basically like 40 or 50 people and it just sort of like refreshes very, very quickly. The emojis are fun. It's kind of like what some people do on their channels with having augmented emojis. And yeah, so that part is fun. I agree. Katya joined Discord for the first time this month. Glad I'm just a forum user. Wouldn't want to set it up. Yeah, because I feel like there's little, like any platform, what they're doing is trying to persuade you to stay on more time and contribute more and engage more, and more on that later. But yeah, the more you engage, you get little like plus. It's kind of like a video game. You get points and you get, I don't know, privileges. The more points you get. I didn't stay on long enough to really feed into that. But as soon as I see, here's the rat pushing the pellet, I kind of back away because there's already so many things I'm doing that I'm kind of like, okay, maintain what I've chosen and don't get sucked into more things is the current state right now. So Beth Ann, in my humble opinion, the Discord is clunky and lost its utility whenever booktuber started hosting one. Who has time for that? Oh man, insert GIF here. Yeah. It can be fun. But yeah, what were we on? Amrita's discussion where we were trying to figure out the audio to see if we could all like hear each other instead of just do the chat written. And it was pretty opaque. We only had one person who had managed to do it before, and like we couldn't figure it out. So, I mean, it could have just been a conference of old millennials being millennials, but we couldn't figure it out. So there you go. That is a user experience. That is a UX error. GD, I've been invited by nice people. I suspect I'll try, not understand. Luster fades, and so will I. Nice. Storygraph. Goodreads is weird, but motivates me to read. Yeah, I am a solid, Goodreads challenge 100. It sort of fluctuated 120. I didn't make 120, so I think I'm back down to 111. But with all the booktubing, I sort of no longer need the number of books challenged for the year, because I find that talking about books so much and doing buddy reads and all this stuff, it's gonna shoot me past the goal and everything. So I've got a whole lot of goals now. Yeah, for Discord. Cool. Brian saying, fallback excuse. He's going to use that he is in his 50s and too old to learn something new. All good. I mean, you're listening to us saying we've all tried it and have a variety of experiences with it. So take that as your affirmation or validation. If I wanted to follow continual updates from 500 people in a conversation, I'd be on Twitter. Yes. I'm on Twitter. I pretty much like Twitter. Yeah. What's that? Solidarity? Oh, yeah, and Goodreads. The other thing is comments and settings and all that stuff. Yeah. Nice and light. 111. Is that sarcasm? To monitor and keep writing reviews for all I read. Oh, that's a good reason. Yeah, Storygraph is oriented so that it's not review heavy. It's not trying to be like the go-to review site, but more of a mood reader kind of site, as well as keep track of your own. So that's what I use it for. I haven't really used reviews because they're sort of buried. You have to look for them. I use it for the descriptors, the sort of mood rankings that they give each book. And yeah, you can also buy books from that platform. They'll give you a link to either Bookshop or Blackwell's or something else. And I like that too, because it's not linked to Amazon automatically. Excuse me. Evergreen. Yes. Okay, so Discord, Goodreads, excellent discussion. Thank you guys. And so what is the other category of stuff? Some sort of challenge in various forms. We've got the bingo board, which I used. We've got lists of prompts, which I've seen very popular on BookTube. Read along, where you have one book that everyone reads in addition to like other go forth and be bastards. Anyone tell me where that reference is from? Posting on various platforms, et cetera, et cetera. Posting on various platforms. Speaking of which, that is what our own JD did for March of the Writers. So his was every platform, and I can't imagine how he kept up, but hashtag March of the Writers was JD's effort to include writers community on the various platforms. He had a prompt for every day that people could post about, and I tried to do like a handful of them on Instagram, and I just chose one and did as much as I could handle. So that was super fun. So that was a prompt and a list, and so that worked very well for March of the Writers. See? Yeah, happy March is done. And social media, hood. Yeah. Hey, Lana, thanks for joining. So, yes, I went with the bingo board because there's some flexibility in it. You could choose which ones you try to go for. You could choose if you want to game your reading more or less. I figured that the people who are participating were going to be pretty laid back about it and not be, competing too hard, because, yeah. It was about read what you own. It was, it's a new one. And so it was pretty laid back. So that was how to get the, let's see. that was the offering for the readathon. The next thing I thought about how to get out the word. Like I said, I had a few central posts on the blog because that is stationary and it has a link that's easy for the website calendar to find. The Google Doc, which sort of kept the most current information about who is buddy reading what with whom, and that was great. That's pretty much all I did. How to communicate with participants. Up. Yay! Lana tried with the bingo board and like almost made it twice, but I know I had a couple that I was like, I couldn't finish the nonfiction in time, although I finished it in the first week of April, and I couldn't. Let's see, I couldn't find I didn't have it translated on my list, and I wasn't going to buy new books. I don't know. There were just sort of blocks that I hadn't thought through. If I was trying to do it just for me, I might have, gotten a little more crafty, but I did not. G. Oh, there you go. Bingo was his name-o. So that was fun. In terms of communicating, when I had people sign up for the buddy read, basically, did I put it in the spreadsheet? Yes. So I had a category for the channel name because I assumed it would be mostly booktubers participating. And so I got at least a channel. And then because YouTube is like the worst for sending messages, because there is no functionality to send messages, we had to choose for each buddy read how we would communicate about it elsewhere. So unfortunately, you had to like pair it with something. It was like, I don't know. YouTube is not a side dish, but it required a pairing. And so with each buddy read grouping, bleh. Like I said, it's been a long morning. I asked the people what their favorite way of communicating was. For some people, it was Instagram. For some, it was Twitter. For some, it was Voxer. And so just like pinged around. And because I was the only one common to all these, I just sort of molded myself to whatever people needed because I didn't have another idea about it. I was not after behavior change. I was not trying to corral people to do like the one thing that I wanted. I do like to control things, but in this one case, I was okay just going, okay, that works for you, that works for you, that works for you. Yes, I'll do whatever you want. And so that was fine. I was able to be flexible in that arena. Where to showcase content. And so here is where my little planning heart, sorry, has congestion as always. My little planning heart sort of stumbled. What would be the end result of the readings? I sort of ran out of creative steam on this and asked people, but didn't get any answers for what we wanted to produce. And so they ended up being live chats. And so that's what we had, is a series of 7 live book chats where we had either pairs or triples of people discussing the book they had read together. We brought up, what were your reactions? Talked about a little bit about quotes, talked about things that we had researched even, and just sort of had like an hour-long live chat. And what did I have to prepare for that? Just the Canva images and setting up the StreamYard events. And so that was pretty simple. Like, I think by that time I was like done. I was like, okay, this is all the work I want to do. So let's choose the simplest method of exporting. And that worked out pretty well. I think people are excited. What was actually really cool about this for me personally was that a lot of people had not been on a live before. And so I was their like little trainer for a live chat, a live stream. And so I had people come on the Friday lives to practice, just to make sure that they were comfortable beforehand. And, it's just like being a guide or a facilitator or a teacher. And I've been in that role and have been very comfortable in that role. So that was fun to just sort of like usher people through the process and make sure they felt comfortable before we put it out there in front of an audience. And actually one of those little training sessions where Katya and Tino joined me on Friday Live turned into quite the discussion of, I don't know, A to Z. I think we talked about like everything under the sun, including corsets, which led to an interesting conversation with Joe Compton. So yeah, full circle. It was super fun. Yeah, so my Mighty Blaze training and sort of live streaming expertise, if you want to call it that, sort of stumbled over into being a guider of ways for people on BookTube, and that was pretty fun. So, but if you have creative ideas about like what else would you have as sort of an end result of Buddy Read, like what could you do? That would be fun because we could grow. I think when you do a readathon for a second time, people want a little something different. You want like the same but different, like just what people want from books from an author, right? If you write a good book, the second book that person reads from you, they want the same but different. They want something familiar but surprising. Just the impossible. Just the impossible. Yeah, so I think it's going to be similar with the readathon. So if anyone has ideas, I'm sure Amrita had that note earlier about being included. I'm sure she'll have some great ideas. But yes, anyone who wants to like plot and poke things in the cauldron and make this even more exciting next year, definitely jot me a line, send me a message. I'm on all the places, as I've said. So definitely encouraged. Katya saying the practice chat was really fun. I know, it was so fun. Tight circle. Yeah. Like a corset talk. Pleasing people is crazy. Yeah. As I said, we've left that behind. We're no longer in that part of the process. But yeah, so end results, any creative ideas, definitely let me know. So, okay, now we're to the results part. So did I keep up with my plan? And spoiler, I did, because I'm a follow through type of person. I'm an indecisive, but follow through type of person. And I think those go together pretty often. So what happened? Subscriber count. All right, here's the juicy details. So I'm going to keep like pinging back and forth in the tabs here. The first half of the month was discouraging. I was talking with Katya about this, and like for some reason YouTube likes to drop 6 subscribers at a time, whether it's like a scrounging, what's the word when you clear something up? It's a data term. But yeah, so that happened to one day at the beginning, and it was a little discouraging. But then the second half of the month picked up, and we had a one-day high add of 7, and I was like, yes. So we had a net positive of 31, which is a little better than my recent monthly average gains. And so it's probably not statistically significant, again, for the scientists in the room, but I was happy with it. It's fine. Yes, I'm not sure. SL platform. I don't know if that's YouTube or what, but so that was the subscriber count indicator. The other one was views, and unfortunately, my scientific method failed me on this one. So after listening to Roz's tag about tags, I realized I should really get to the BookTube newbie tag before any more time went by. So I stuck it in the middle of the March. Yeah, so I did sort of spoil the experimental effects because that is a search term. And so I had immediately a whole bunch of views for the BookTube newbie tag video, which is not related to the readathon at all. So, yeah. So unfortunately for views, overall, I sort of spoiled the sample, but individual views on videos, lives did pretty well. There's this, okay, so on Go Indie Now, sidebar, bear with me here. On Go Indie Now, we had a discussion about what is advice about YouTube that people have given you that doesn't seem to be true at all. And one of the things I was asking the more experienced folks on the call, like JD, was the thing about lives. If you are doing recorded videos and then you start introducing lives, it destroys your pickup ability, like the whatever consistency sort of credit you got. YouTube says, oh, lives aren't worth anything, so we're not going to promote you. And they're not promoting me anyway yet, but I wondered if it affected any of the algorithm stuff. And I couldn't really tell. I don't have enough data for that, I think. But the lives on Friday did get a good amount of views and a good amount of interaction. And so I was encouraged, like, personally. So again, there are a lot of analytics to look at. And I did look at a fair few at the end of March in the past week to try to figure out how this worked and how this affected the performance of my channel. But I think the jury is still out on this one in terms of conclusive evidence. JD, broken 600 subs and 500 to 600 took years. I'm not sure what worked or helped. That's the problem. Scourging? I don't think that's it. Scrounge? That's not scrounging. I'm a writer. I have words. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. Expunging? Expunging your record? I think that's the word I'm trying to think of. Anyway. I just appreciate it's free. Scrubbing. Or scrubbing. There you go. Scrubbing bubbles. That's the word I was trying to think of. Yeah. Expunging, purging. Purging is a little more like vomiting, but it's close enough. Yeah, you're all getting points for the right word. Good job. Okay, so those are my first two indicators that I wanted to focus on: subscriber count and views. And then the last one was engagement. And this is an interesting topic because I went in with a sort of puzzlement. Oh, did anyone get that ambassadors reference yet? I didn't see any in the chat. Exfoliating. No. Let me do it again, just in case. You guys gotta be, yeah, ambassadors. Anybody? Okay, anyway. Engagement. So my puzzlement at the beginning of the month was that I had as many or more comments on my videos than views. And yes, that's because I was replying to all the comments, but you would think that the ratio would be different. And so I was thinking, why am I not getting more views to comments ratio? And will this improve? Will this change? What have you? And so my idea of engagement was comments, and I thought that would feed the algorithm more. But doing a little investigation in this experiment, I realized that the indicators that YouTube uses are more watch time. How long do people stay to watch? If they're on live, they can't fast forward. They can't watch at two times speed. So, like, what is that? How much time are people actually giving you when they watch? And so, thank you. I'll use this opportunity to thank you for your valuable time for watching. But yeah, so I sort of had to shift my definition of engagement, because what I really appreciate about BookTube is the exchange and the comments and the discussion and that sort of community feeling. But what YouTube values and grades you on basically is watch time. And so I thought, oh, well, now do I evaluate my results for this readathon based on watch time or engagement and comments? And so I sort of torn between the two. Comments continued to be high. Watch time, let me go back to my blog post. Watch time went up by 32% over the last month. Oh, and I have a typo. Oh, great. Okay, I'll go back and fix the typo. I'm not sure if this is due more to the readathon or to the format shift of having primarily live videos rather than recorded. Because, as I said, if you're watching live, you can't fast forward. But with the anecdotal evidence of seeing how well the two productivity sprints did, I suspect that the live format is actually better at increasing watch time, and therefore that level of engagement than having a readathon. So I don't know. That's a lot of word soup science to throw at you. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. How they quantify views is odd. Oh, okay. Well, when I looked up views, how they count views, it said it was 30 seconds or more. On any video qualifies or counts as a view. But yeah. And watch time, how to get efficient viewers to skip the time to speed button and stick to normal. I mean, I'm okay with sticking to higher watch speeds. I do that because I watch so many videos. It's not humanly possible otherwise. Yeah, I think so. There's how long did you spend watching the video, but then there's also how much of it did you watch? Because if you watched it at 2 times and you got through it, if a 10-minute video in 5 minutes, there's a thing that says like, when did people drop? So you wouldn't qualify for the dropping. There wouldn't be like a point at where you lost people. It would just be fewer minutes. I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm sort of like judging people by my own behavior transparently here. And if it's okay for me, it's okay for you. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Of course, people can definitely differ on that. Yay, validation. Thank you, Brian. Post regularly, engage with the community, etc. Yeah. So the other things people talk about, like what type of content, that was also in the tag about tags that Roz did. The type of content being whether you like watching hauls or vlogs or wrap-ups or individual reviews. And I definitely have preferences, but I don't think they're the general preference. So that might be a case of like having to divorce what, well, I mean, you don't want to do something that you don't want to do, but yeah, I'm unsure about that one because the evidence of what people like and follow is not clear, especially because there are so many different corners. It's like a hall of mirrors. What hall of mirrors are you in on BookTube? Because that could change what type of video people like to watch. So I'm back to just posting what I want to post. JD saying, I never speed up, hence my watch later list is bad shit. Oh, yeah. Well, I have a friend, Elle Mitchell, who listens to audiobooks this year like no other, and she speeds them up to like 3. I'm like, how do you even do that? And then there was Amrita's tweet the other day where she said, it's time. I think she actually retweeted someone else's tweet, said, it's time I admitted to you all that I'm listening to all your podcasts at 2.0 speed, which means you're coming across as very intelligent chipmunks. I just thought that was pretty funny. That was pretty good. I watch every video at least 1.5, but I watch the whole video. Yeah. Sometimes, especially if I see people regularly and I know they have an outro, I'll like split when they start to say, thanks for what? Because I'm like, because I've got a queue of like 50 for the day and I want to see everyone's, which is hard. Actually, here's a little teaser. Beth Ann and I are cooking up a tag about how people booktube, and we got to figure out how we're going to put that out. But we've got big ideas, so that's coming. Alana's saying, I love the double speed button. You're right. There's too much content to watch, not enough time. Yeah, and it depends on how you watch too, because obviously vlogs, a lot of it is music with visuals that are supposed to be watched. So I think I've heard a lot of people say that they watch YouTube videos for the audio while they're doing other things and not watching, but you can't do that with vlogs. So depending on your viewing preference and viewing behavior, like that may be a mismatch. So I don't know. That's more data here. Have. Beth Ann saying, I zone out at 2 times speed. Y'all are superhuman. Yeah, well, It also depends on the creator too, because some people are already speaking fast, and so I will have to do 1.5 or 1.75. In fact, one of the non-booktube channels that I follow, Thames TV, is like archived British TV programs. You can laugh at me. It's very nerdy. But those will come on, and sometimes they'll be like a couple minutes, and sometimes they'll be like 20 minutes. There was recently a series. There was like 3 that were on the mining strikes in the 80s, which were super interesting, but they were all set in like rural Yorkshire. And I was like, I can't listen to this. I know. So for the Thames TV archives, I usually have to slow it down to at most 1.25 because there's no way I'm understanding those accents at that speed. So, you know, it's good. It's getting humbled every once in a while. Yeah, JD and Beth Ann can commiserate. Alvin and the Chipmunks. No, I didn't like them when I was a kid. I hate listening to that song at Christmas. Like I won't do it. You comment as you go, like me. There we go. I'm calling you out here. Watch booktube in the background during my work day, and I can't watch or listen to videos when I'm doing work because it's engaging the same part of my brain. I can do it when I'm washing dishes or when I'm vacuuming or when I'm I don't know, doing something with my hands, like repotting plants maybe, but I can't do it when I'm like thinking about writing, especially. That takes like super turbocharged. So good on ya. Oh, here's something I tried to change my behavior. Again, sidebar. Sorry, we're getting on a tangent. So I realized that YouTube doesn't count likes, and they're sort of like confetti. Like they're not helping anybody, right? But I tried not, it's like muscle memory now. When I go through my watch later list, I press like and I take it off the watch later list while I'm watching. And so a few times I said, don't like it. It doesn't matter. See if you can like save that extra second, which 1 is stupid. And 2, like I didn't think it was worth it to retrain myself. So y'all are still getting all the likes if I watch your video. Mindless likes, which I don't know. You can tell me if you appreciate or not. Oh, we're catching up to my other comments. Okay. Posting what you want is the best approach. If you posted some kind of clickbait video, it might pay off short term, but in the long run, I don't think it pays. Yeah. Yep. So say, I was going to try to sing, and then my voice decided, nope. There's a Beach Boys song called Stay True to Your School. That's what I was going to say to that. Same, Rosie. Beth Ann's been watching less this past week because I've had more writing tasks at work. Bummer. Can't do 2-speed either, so my booktube playlist is insane. Oh, so commiserate with JD. Yeah. Hey, Katie. Thanks for coming by. Nice to see you. So JD's saying some people play the game and do what's trending and it works, but also a lot of people do the same and no results. Yeah. Right? I mean, it's kind of like dieting. Best to do what you enjoy so the double-digit views don't bother. Preach. Gotcha. Has anyone else felt disoriented leaving the *2 speed and then having a normal conversation? Yeah. So someone told me that you can, so for Libro.fm, for audiobooks, I definitely see that you have many more choices. You have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. But for podcasts that are on Apple Podcasts, I guess is where I listen to it on my phone, they only have the 0.25, 0.5. And so you have to go through it like a cycle. There's a programming term for this, but I don't know it. Instead of just clicking what you want. And so I'll have to go through, if it's too fast, I'll have to go through like the really slow. So I hear them talking like this. It's funny. I can't listen to that. I've never had a problem with normal conversation, but that could be because I don't have normal conversations anymore. Pandemic life. I think making the content you want to make is best. The audience is out there. It just takes time. Yep. Oh gosh, I need to catch up on this chat messages. A knack for getting subs. Power to them. I'm too stubborn to pander. I mean, writers know it's the same thing for writing books, except it's a much slower cycle, right? Like when you get off a moving walkway at the airport. Yes. Totally. Ugh, combat. Oh, okay. All right. So I'll definitely keep up with the likes on JD's channel. I can't. Yeah. I think Hannah was saying a while ago, why would people give unlikes? Like, oh, and I need to come back to that engagement question. Okay, let me get back on track. Y'all are too interesting, and I have to like catch up with all this. Bye, Bethan. Georgian literature. Yes, I noticed. I saw that. Pen Pineapple Apple Podcast. Book reviews. Who'da thunk it on BookTube? Yeah, it was a good video. Really no way to predict what will be watched. One of my most watched videos is, in my opinion, my most boring. Hey, Melissa, welcome to the chat. Overtime book reviews do end up getting more views. Writer overtime. No, that's part of the name. Overtime book reviews? Oh, overtime. Sorry, just a typo. Yeah, overtime. Yeah, they do. Book reviews have a longer shelf life. People will pick them up weeks, months, even later because they're searching. So you're getting a lot more traffic from the search. Yay, Jim's video was awesome. Yeah, I haven't seen this. It doesn't ring a bell, so send it to me. Okay, I'm caught up, back on track. We're at an hour, but we're good. I'm good to keep going. Okay, so engagement. The last thing I said when I was on track was engagement for YouTube is actually more about watch time than comments, which is weird because I think on BookTube we all sort of associate the comments as like the gold stuff, the gold dust of BookTube. At least I do. And I read a really interesting article from Karen Howe on technologyreview.com. I tweeted it earlier this week about engagement. The higher your engagement, let me just get it and post it here. Models that maximize engagement increase polarization. Boom. So I've been thinking about that all week. I'll post my tweet with the link to the article here. Because we all, I think, want to increase engagement, both for personal reasons and gratification, as well as like your algorithm and your channel and any projects that you want to promote. But does it increase polarization? And the Technology Review article is about AI and Facebook and Google and like all these sort of models that we're feeding our data into. And I can think about that and think about how obviously it would. It's kind of like the old idea of the being in silos and having an echo chamber, to mix metaphors. But the more engagement you get, the more you are self-selecting yourself into a space that is telling you what you want to hear, I guess, and having, I don't know. What do people think about this? Engagement, good. Polarization, bad. But how do they relate, do you think? It's interesting. So anyway, check out the tweet, check out the article. She had a really well-written analysis there. Okay, so recommendations and lessons learned. I've dropped a few here, but ending things, I would recommend plan early, as Rosie's point. Plan early to make all those decisions. For me, my little planning heart is very happy to like set up systems and spreadsheets and make things clear and sort of figure out that stuff. But if you're like me, you also have to make a lot of decisions about things, and that takes longer for me, funnily enough. So plan early to make all those decisions and not get overwhelmed. Yeah, okay. Confirming the gold dust, or how is it? Is this the guy who does the paprika or the salt? Salt guy? Yeah, Melissa's saying she definitely values the comments above the views. Here and Facebook. I'm not sure what Jay's referring to because I'm in several places in my head here. Yes. Likes or confetti. I want the cake interaction. Yeah. My zodiac sign? Well, my birthday is coming up. That is going to be the subject of a future live. So, yeah, I'm a Taurus. I'm like the first day of the Taurus. Salt Bay. There you go. Whatever. I can't do it. It just looks unnatural when I do it. Ryder Bay. There you go. Okay. Oh, you sent it to me in both places. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so plan early. I would say definitely get on Little Book Owl's calendar because that is like the central organizing place. She is what comes up in the search results. So you like hook your wagon to the star of Little Book Owl. Make book suggestions that fit your prompts so people aren't starting from scratch. So that's what I did in the spreadsheet. It was basically conveniently the books that I owned that were on my shelf that I wanted to read, which is the whole reason I chose this topic and this period, were the ones that I suggested and put in there as like, I don't know, offerings, basically. I could do any of these read buddy reads. So it'll be a selection process based on random, what do other people have and what do other people have interest in reading. And so that was fine. But I think if I had left it blank, people would have been like, I don't know, like at a middle school dance. So it was good to sort of seed that into like things that would get people thinking. So I thought that worked well. Offer multiple ways to communicate about the ongoing reading. So as many people know, when you do a buddy read, usually you have messages during the process. You can either plan it out super fine with like how many chapters per day, how many check-ins, etc. Or you could say, here's our deadline. Plan it back yourselves. Do what you will. Magic, do as you will. Again, anyone get that reference? That's a good one. The last one, since no one got it, was from Newsies. Jack Kelly. But magic, do as you will. See if anyone gets that reference. And this worked for me because I did not want to have to monitor people along the way. It just felt like micromanaging, and I felt like we were all adults and serious readers, and we'll do whatever we have to like get it done. And my faith in humanity and book reading humanity was not ill-founded, so I was happy about that. And then I think I had one more. Live discussions are easy to set up with a high yield of engagement. Boom. So both engagement in comments and engagement in watch time. I think we'll have to do it again to like measure again and make sure that it's statistically significant. But yeah. And again, creative ideas for next time so we can bump up our game a little. Definitely solicited. Tell me in the comments. But those are the recommendations based on my experience. And then I had a little list of what would I have changed to have a bigger impact. Well, I tried at the beginning to involve a sponsor of the prize for more visibility. And you could probably guess who I asked. Anybody? I asked Persephone, but if you're on their mailing list, you know that they just moved. So they were going through some things a month ago, and I'm sure it was like the last thing on their list to be able to do this. The owner or part owner that I contacted was also on deadline to write a piece, and so she didn't have time either. So, but I do think this was a good idea, and if I can make it happen next time, I think I'll definitely try again and just like try to find someone different. I don't have much experience like looking for sponsors. I did this for YOLO Book Offload PDX and was successful with 2, I think. And I tried with Fred Meyer multiple times. And speaking of micromanaging, that was one where I was like trying to chase down the community, grant support. And that was a no. They lost it multiple times. And I'm just like, okay, you can actually tell me that you don't want to support the book fair without just telling me you lost it again. So, yeah. Someone got it. Yes. That's Schmendrick the magician. Magic do as you will. JD gets fake extra credit. Yay. Very cool. So yeah, like a sponsor or something in the business world to sort of hang your shingle on, I think would have been good at the beginning for visibility, as well as just like financing the prize. But it was fine. I just bought the book and sent it to Rosie. Just fun. Confetti? No, fake extra credit from Writer Bay. There you go. Second thing I would have changed, I attempted to recruit co-hosts, but I think I was too unknown. And Tony is the one who sort of was a co-host, but she didn't participate in any of the organization. The way the timing rolled out, I sort of front-loaded all that stuff. And so most of the decisions were made before I reached out. And so I think people were just sort of like, I don't know what I'm walking into, what I'll be responsible for. And I got time for this. But I think having it done one time so people can see this is like the basic framework and let's like level up the next time is going to be much more, lend itself much more to recruiting co-hosts for next year. So that is a happy thought. I'm excited because what I see other people doing with co-hosts is like delegating for platforms. And I'm like, yes. So that would be really cool. Also doing different sorts of challenges instead of like the live book chat. There could be, I don't know, like a choose your own adventure. That was a really cool Booktober thing that they did. That's a huge project. I'm not looking to do that next year, but just different stuff. So recruiting co-hosts, definitely looking for that. And then the third thing I might have changed. Oh yes, don't choose March. It's like trying to fly standby the day before Thanksgiving. No. So, yeah. Oh, bye, Brian. Thanks for coming. Yes, Melissa's saying you've got the pilot out of the way. Exactly. My pilot episode is launched. So the alliteration was part of the draw. So I'm just going to move it to May of the Moderns. Modern May. I don't know. Maybe I'll work on the title, but I think May is much less crowded. Whereas every video that I watched about people trying to do their TBRs in March was like, wow, what a busy month. And I knew that, but I didn't know that going in. So now having observed that phenomenon, I'm going to change it for next year. Oh, March is so loaded. Why not March? It's just too full and people are already very invested in March Mystery Madness and Middle Grade March and March of the Mammoths. And those all take a significant amount of effort because they are legacy readathons, if you will. And so if people are part of that community, I don't want to like add something on and you know, people only have a limited amount of time for the hobby aspect of this. And so I don't want to make them choose. So put it in a month where there's less going on. I think what I have for May is, what do I have for May? Asian reads. So I have my, like the books I have that I own that are by Asian authors, Asian American and Asian around the world. And so trying to put that in the mix, but that's just one. And I'm sure there's others and there's like ongoing every month ones, but, yeah, so that's why I would change it next year just to not overload people. They're just so loaded. April or May of the writers kind of meh. Yeah, it's true. But again, you're on all the platforms. So the ones that I mentioned, those readathons are YouTube centric. So I mean you only had a few people that I saw on YouTube. David Wardrop was one, and I'm subscribed, so I get his videos, and I'm always like, what is going on in that thumbnail? So, but you know, you could expand it. Well, you can do what you want, but you have all the platforms to play with, so it's not as, I think, restricted. Legacy readathons. Is 3 years enough to have a legacy author loop thingy? What's an author loop? Whoops. Do you have months in mind for next time? Yes, May. So we'll get ready for May. David and his wrestling mask. There's a specific name for those Machado. There's a name for is it Mexican wrestling style? Lucha. There we go. Lucha. Moderns in May, March of the Writers. Yes, actually, this year I was thinking about doing a meme, a Justin Timberlake meme because of this. And I was like, do I go with ramen curls or I don't know. Older luchador. Thank you. Yeah, so there's going to be a JT meme for our older millennial cohort. Don't worry. So yeah, so that's the timing. So those are the three things that I would have changed. So just take those with a grain of salt, adapt them to your priorities, your preferences, your setting, and what you're out to do for sure. And a couple more comments about like format. One of the things I've been continually mystified by on YouTube is the premiere. And if anyone can tell me what the purpose of the premiere is, or what it's best for, or what it does better than either a live or a recorded video, I am all ears because I don't understand. They don't do much for me. They don't seem very exciting. And what I've done once and it worked well, and I think I'm going to try again to see if it works again, is to pair a premiere with a live, because the premiere means that people see it on their subscription feed premiering now, because it's like time sensitive, but not really. So it attracts their attention in the moment, but then, I mean, my videos aren't very long, so it doesn't have that attention for very long. So I feel like if you have something to put up that is, hey, it's premiering now, it gives people a time to focus on and has that little bit of, hey, exciting right now. But then you're also like hanging around afterwards, like a talk back to say more about that topic without just having lives all the time. So I'm experimenting with like combining the two to see if that works, because it's like a theater performance with a talk back. That's where I'm coming from. Let's just say that. Yes, ramen curls, superimpose on a historical photo of a child. I like that. Oh man. Oh, the possibilities. Oh my God. Okay. Lana, I may have to talk to you about this. Oh, okay. If you have a bigger platform, Premiere works. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true, because yeah, the people who have like 20,000 subscribers definitely will they get people clicking on the set reminder. I don't do that. When I see people with set reminder in my subscription feed, I wait, because every day I go to my watch later feed and I sort of do the ones that I can at the end. And if I come across one that is alive, it stops me and makes me go back, because it no longer has the watch later list. It sort of goes out of the list. And then I'm like, oh, it's alive. I have to go back. It's not content yet. So that frustrates me. So I don't include it until after it's done. Anyway, behind the tag. Interesting stuff. It includes a chat with the recorded video. That's true. And if you had, yeah, but I guess the ones I've premiered are too short to like attract people for the live chat. When you have showed up, it's always like in the last minute, and I'm like, sorry, the video was so short, because there's no time to chat. So that is a good lesson. That is a good thing to think about. Your audience will be psyched to see and want to schedule time to watch a really long or ambitious vlog. There you go. Okay, so that's a good point. So yeah, obviously this is what I've just learned. You want to put a video that is longer and sort of more work into it, perhaps. That makes sense. Live interviews and such. Right. But then it's not a premiere, it's a live. That I have done. The premiere of a live helps me out because it says how long till it starts. Oh. Okay, so I think this is different. When you have a live that is scheduled, like this one was, you have the graphic, and when you visit the page that YouTube puts up as a placeholder, it says 19 hours, and you could count back if you don't have daylight savings or all this nonsense to worry about, to make sure you're there at the right time. But the premiere may do that as well, but it's not a live. It's a pre-recorded video that's going to start then. And they do the countdown. I don't know if they have like the 19 hours until, I don't know. Maybe this is the same thing. Anyway, I add lives. Rosie's saying, I add lives to my watch later, but keep the upcoming ones at the bottom of the list. That way I see them every day and remember to watch them. That's a good approach. So this is one of those things like I've trained myself to. I I keep book review videos of books that I haven't read yet, but I want to, but I can't watch the video of because it'll be a spoiler at the top. And then every day I'm trying to get all the ones off the bottom that I can, because those are like the daily updates that I add. So the ones that are like premiering later that I want to save, I have actually put up in my queue. Oh, that could have gone somewhere. Sort my watch late. Way too much. Oh, you can sort that list. That makes sense. I just like move it up to get it out of the way. Oh, see? I'm learning all these like little hacks all the time. That's good. That's good. Okay, winding down. Running a readathon. We had what I did, we had the preparation, we had the results, we had the lessons learned, changes for next year, lots of brilliant questions and suggestions, so thank you. And I discussed the engagement versus polarization. I think that's something you got to kind of mull over. So if you think about it later, send me a line on somewhere. That'd be interesting to talk about. Yeah, so just the April reminders that book club is Sunday, April 18th. The talk with Christy and Richard on Lurking for Legends is next Tuesday, April 13th. The drawing for the April treasure trove is going to be next Friday on the Friday Live. I'm definitely adopting that going forward. It's going to be like 2 videos and a Friday Live. So the drawing will be next Friday, the 16th. And I will be doing that premiere and live thing then, and the premiere will show the 2 things to choose from for the treasure trove. And I'm excited because I made them both like April specific, literally speaking, because I'm a nerd that way. So hopefully y'all are nerds with me. And I think that's it. Any other questions about the readathon, about April? Birthday. I'm going to have birthday news coming soon, but I didn't want to overload y'all, so I'm going to stick to the things that I just said. JD, bye. Have smashed that subscribe button. All these people are already subscribed, I think. So yeah, I don't say that. But I think that's all. That is my busy morning, my April reminders, my lessons learned, and topics to ponder on for later. So thanks so much for attending and contributing and engaging and being my parasocial friend. I look forward to talking with you again soon. And yeah, have a great weekend, guys. Bye.